Hi guys, it's Michelle with Sweet Pea Farm, and we just wanted to do a quick video today about the perks of raising sheep. I know a lot of people don't think of sheep as a great initial homestead farming critter to have. They're not nearly as popular as chickens or even goats, but they've found a special place on our farm and they'll always be here. When we built our property in 2012, we built it on a road called Lamb Road, and at the time I was showing dogs and had zero intention of ever getting a sheep or raising a sheep, but my honey Matt said we should get some sheep to mow the lawn, and I thought he was crazy, but that's just what we did. So we initially got a breed of sheep called Baby Dolls. They're a heritage breed of sheep and they're really small. They're super cute, but as the girls got older, as the farm got bigger and we were trying to be more profitable, we decided to get to the larger versions of the Baby Dolls, and that's just what we did. So now we have Southdowns, and they are a larger production animal. We have 30 breeding ewes on the farm, and a couple extras, lambs, rams, and pets, and we rotate them on different pastures just like you would cows. In fact, they really nicely complement rotating pastures with cows. If you have beef cows, they're super to put right behind them and rotate them into your grazing pattern between cows and chickens. And they move through different pastures. They're very gentle on the land. They don't create lots of trouble. They're very easy to fence in compared to goats that are a little bit better at getting out of certain kind of fencing. We have a large pasture on the far side of the property that's 6-strand of high tensile fence, which is kind of a pain to maintain. And we initially had a herd of boar goats over in that pasture, and they were just constantly getting out. They would just push through it, jump over it, whatever. It was not a successful situation. So essentially we ended up getting rid of the boar goat herd at that time. It just wasn't working out for us, but we decided to get rid of the boars and grow the sheep flock instead. So that's what we did, and we're continuing to grow the sheep flock. Certainly 30 is not where we're stopping. We keep our ewe lambs as replacement ewes so that our flock will continue to grow and we will continue to have good genetics. We buy in rams every few years from breeders that we admire for their physical characteristics, because the girls definitely show sheep in New York and Massachusetts and wherever we can get, depending on the year. So not only do we want to have sheep that are good moms, produce healthy lambs, raise the lambs well, but also that are structurally sound and built to the breed standard for Southdowns. So we do that, and I have Bertha. Bertha is going to be the first one to lamb, and she's sitting here looking at me funny. She's like, "Are you going to feed me?" She's getting an udder, so she will be having lambs first, and the rest of them will follow starting in December. So besides the fact that they're easier on fencing than the goats are pretty good at getting out of things. They do grow wool. If you get a wool sheep, they do make hair sheep. They're not my favorite. I feel like you might as well just get goats. But so some people see that as a hurdle because they have to be shorn every year. I love it because then I have a byproduct from the animals that we raise for meat. We can also have fleece from all of our ewes every year, and that fleece can be used to make anything from dryer balls, which is what we make a ton of, to needle felted critters, and some people, use it for wet felting. There's tons of stuff you can use the wool for. I spin it into yarn as well, and then it can be made into sweaters and hats, and that generates extra income on the farm. So really our wool and our meat sales at this point in time, 6 years later, generates almost equal amounts of money, because I needle felt figures and I sell the dryer balls at local craft shows and farmers markets, and that makes quite a bit of money. So something that people would often throw out because it's just a pain for them to deal with, to wash the wool or whatever, is something that for my sheep is often paying their feed bill. So aside from that, the girls work with the sheep in 4-H, and they obviously get all the benefits that come from raising animals, which you could do with anything, chickens, goats, whatever. We've tried donkeys here, we've tried cows, which we may end up with more cows, but originally we didn't have good perimeter fencing, and we needed to fix that because our cow was trying to get to our neighbor's beef cows across the road, and she would be standing in the middle of the street in the morning, and that was dangerous. So we moved her to a different beef farm, but now we have a perimeter fencing, and we may be able to get a couple beef cows again, so which would be great because we can graze them right along with the sheep. So the fact that our main product here on the farm is lamb, which sounds rough because lambs are so cute, but we send all of our boy lambs that are not breeding quality off to either the market, which is where they would go to an auction for meat buyers to come and bid on and buy, or we send them to our own humane USDA butcher and have them processed into frozen meat cuts that we sell at the farmers market. And because I live in upstate New York, lamb is not a very common thing to find, and people are way more interested in buying lamb at a farmer's market than they would be maybe chicken or beef, because it's just way less common. So I feel like we kind of have, it could be looked on as a disadvantage that lamb is kind of not eaten as commonly as chicken and beef and pork, but once you find the people that really love lamb, they will come back and come back again and be really good supportive customers. And because we raise a breed of sheep that are specifically for meat, they have really good meat characteristics, good flavoring. They're not very gamey, or I'm trying to think of like what's another word for gamey, but they're not super strong tasting. They have a really nice flavor to them. Granted, I'm a vegetarian, so I can't tell you, from personal experience, but my customers say that our lamb is very flavorful without being gamey. And so we're lucky with that because we have a high quality product that we've chosen, specifically for its breed characteristics and its meat characteristics, to be able to harvest that when it's that time and continue to grow the meat market there. Also, one of the bonuses is that just like goats or dogs, there are several different breeds of sheep. There's probably a breed of sheep that could fit on any farm. Some sheep are smaller, like the baby dolls. Some sheep are hair sheep and don't need to be shorn for people that don't want to learn to shear, or can't find a shearer close to them that's willing to come out. You can get a hair sheep. If you want to raise tons and tons of sheep for meat, you can get terminal breeds like Suffolks. South Downs are not necessarily a terminal breed, but people are starting to use them as terminal sires because of their meat quality. Hamps, there's lots of different breeds that are considered terminal sires, usually the black-faced sheep. And so you could just go on and on. There's sheep for different qualities of wool, like Corriedale and Wensleydale and Cornwall and Cotswold all have different qualities of wool. Some of them have great like soft wool for spinning yarn. Some of them have really lustrous long locks. So there's all different qualities for that. If you're a fiber artist and you want to raise sheep, there's nothing more satisfying than raising a lamb, shearing a lamb, processing its fiber, and then wearing something you've made from it. It's so delightful to have something, and it's so special when you have something that's made from your own sheep. And the other thing is they're really low maintenance. The sheep come out here on their pasture, whichever one it is. Granted, you need to set your farm up so that it is easy to work through, because when we were starting out, like trying to get the sheep to move in a new direction can be frustrating especially if they have another way to go that's more comfortable for them. So yeah, just some tips for thinking about a different homestead animal to raise. They really are delightful, and they give you so many great things. The sheep are friendly, they give you wool, they can give you meat. They really don't need much more than grass depending on what breed you get. We do have to feed them hay and grain in the winter, but in the spring, summer, and fall, they can just be out. As long as you have enough pasture to rotate them on, they're happy out there and doing their thing. So just a couple feet trims every year and a shearing, some worming for the lambs. Usually our mature ewes hardly ever need dewormer unless we see a problem in a fecal egg count test. Then we don't give them anything, and a lot of that is genetics, I believe, so we've lucked out, and they're just a fun, delightful animal to live with. There's nothing cooler than waking up and looking out the window at tons of little fuzzballs grazing around your pasture. So anybody thinking about getting sheep, don't hesitate to ask us any questions. Myself and my daughters all love talking about sheep all the time. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We'll be announcing the winner at 8 o'clock tonight to our contest this past week for our birthday month giveaways for a set of our wool dryer balls, and we will ship those to whoever wins them. And we'll be announcing the next contest for next week. So stay tuned and keep an eye out, because my birthday's Saturday, so I'm going to be having lots of fun. I'll see you guys later.